Hello algebra students. Today we are going to talk about creating a linear inequality from a description. Now, if you did the linear equation from a description lesson, you probably know how important that these key words for addition, subtraction, multiplication, division are. But now we're going to talk about a couple of additional ones. And because we're not dealing with with an equation anymore, and now we're talking about inequalities, right? These phrases are going to be very, very key. Now, not only do you have these phrases, is less than or fewer than, all right, is less than or equal to, is greater than or equal to, but anytime you want to talk about less than, fewer than is another option, all right, is less than or equal to, you would see at most or no more than. Then is greater than, you can have more than, at least, or no less than, are all key phrases for those inequality signs. So let's take a look at this. And just like linear equations, the key is to find out where the inequality sign goes and then translate the left side and the right side. So the product of 6 and a number is at least tells us that's the minimum it can be. So this left side has to be greater than or equal to the right side. So the product of 6 and a number, that would be 6n, is at least, meaning the smallest it can be is 24, which means 6n has to be greater than or equal to. So is at least clues you in on the greater than or equal sign. Okay, the next one. The product of 9 and the quantity 5 more than a number t is less than 6. Well, right away you know is less than 6 is going to be the phrase that tells us that we're going to use the less than sign. Okay, but now we got to write 9, the product, meaning multiplication of 9 and the quantity. Quantity tells you to put parenthesis signs. 5 more than a number t. Well, more than is addition, right? So it would be 5 plus t is less than 6. Okay, so there's a lot going on in that problem there. Number 3, the product of 4 and a number w is at most. When we see at most, you have to understand that's the most it can be. So the left side can be at most 51. So you know that at most tells you the left side has to be less than or equal to 51 because it cannot be more than 51. Well, how do we write the product of 4 and a number w? Product is multiplication. So we do 4 times w is less than or equal to 51. Next, the difference of a number q and 18. Remember, difference is subtraction. And we subtract in the order it's given to us. So q minus 8 is greater than, so we have our greater than sign, and is greater than 10. Alright, now the next one. The product, meaning multiplication of 8 and the number k. So 8 times k is greater than 4. Now, number 6. A basketball player scored 351 points last year. If the player plays 18 games this year, will have an average of 20 points per game be enough to beat last year's total? Alright, so when we look at that, if he has 18 games, and he scores an average of 18 times the number of points scored per game, will it be enough to be greater than 351? Alright, so this is what we would do. 18 games times the number of points per game. Will that end up being greater than 351 points? Okay, if we solve this, right, you would divide by 18, and you would get P is greater than 19.5. So if he averaged 19.5 points per game, that would give him 351. Since he is going to average 20 points per game, that will be enough to beat last year's total. Alright, now you do the you try problems on your own, and good luck.